Hi, everybody. Welcome to California Relief. My name is Megan Duquette. I'm California Relief Education and Communications Program Manager. We're excited to have you during our Learn Over Lunch program. Learn Over Lunch started back in 2020 as a network peer-to-peer learning opportunity. It's a chance for Relief Network members to come together, learn about what other network members are doing, as well as to share best practices. And so we offer these on select Wednesdays throughout the year, and you can learn more about all of our upcoming programs by visiting our website, californiarelief.org/LOL. So today I have the privilege and honor to introduce my coworker and my friend, Victoria Vasquez, who is California Relief's Grants and Public Policy Manager. She's going to be sharing about advocacy at the state and local level. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Victoria. Thank you, Victoria, for being here today.
Absolutely. Thank you, Megan. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you, everyone, for being here today and for deciding to come today and talk about advocacy. So today we are talking about California Relief Network members and the advocacy that we have together as a network. I'm coming to you today from Sacramento, California, which I'm acknowledging is Nisenan land that I'm standing on today. And as we speak about advocacy, I want to let you know that what we're talking about is the act of educating someone to your views and what's important to you, with an intention to influence them, that they will share your values and your opinion at the end of what you're advocating for. So I'm really glad that you're here with us today. And you might have seen this before if you've been with California Relief for a long time. But if you haven't, this is our official statement here on advocacy that we provide to our network members. And I'll just read it for you while you have this beautiful view of our state capitol. California Relief is a statewide voice for urban forestry and takes an active role in shaping public policy on behalf of urban trees throughout the state. We ensure that California Relief Network members are partnered with us in these efforts to influence legislation and public debate through our website and our action alerts. Together, we've educated our elected leaders about the importance of healthy urban and community forests, sustained existing state funding programs, and strongly supported resource conservation bonds to increase funding for community projects. So I hope that you're all signed up to receive our action alerts. You might be getting them already from Megan in a couple different ways. So please make sure you're signed up for those. That's what we offer to you is advocacy together as a group, advocacy advice. You have this wonderful resource on our website, which is californiarelief.org, to go to our resources page, and we have a column here, as you can see, for advocating for trees in your community. And over the next year or so, we're going to be updating to have a complete advocacy page where we can have some updated resources and you can find all the information that you need. Today, the presentation I'm giving you is largely based upon this, which is Urban Forest Advocacy, Growing Possibilities, Advocacy 101, originally written by Leslie Friedman Johnson. And that was adapted and compiled by the Conservation Strategies Group. And then we can find a link on our website to a training presented by Arbor Day and Alliance for Community Trees. So there's lots of different ways you can find this information. I'm going to revamp it today and give it a modern spin, even though the way that we make laws and advocate officially hasn't changed very much over the last few decades. The way that we interact and the way that we advocate in the modern world has. So I'm going to be giving you some modern features as to how we get this done. So today, this is as far as we're going to go. If you're brand new to advocacy, that's great. And if you're not, if you're a seasoned advocate for urban forestry issues, I hope that you'll stay with us through the end and share your successes and help us understand how you've been so successful in advocating. There's room for everyone here today. We're going to start with really understanding for you, what are your objectives? What do you want to accomplish through your advocacy? What are your needs? What are the reasons that you advocate for? What are the levels of advocacy? Who do we advocate to? Relationship building and how that's done in a modern world, virtually specifically, the actions that you can take as an advocate, and then all of these things get us to these golden shovel moments if we've got them all in a row. So let's start talking about them. We're going to discuss the beginning, by just defining your needs and ending up with submitting a position letter on the state's website. Okay, let's start with the reasons. What do you want to achieve? What is the purpose, right? I want you all to really think about right now for you in your organization. I want you to think of what is most important to you. What do you want to achieve? There are three reasons generally that people advocate for any cause, not just urban forestry. They're to influence public policy, to secure funding for public investment, or to garner support for your organization and its cause. So if you can take a moment now and just think about which of these three things are you trying to achieve, and come up with a specific intention in your mind about how your organization can use some advocacy. And I want you to hold that intention all the way through this presentation until the end. So as we're going over examples of how you can share your message, I want you just to take a moment and decide what is your message. We're all going to have something a little bit different because all of our organizations are so unique. This is a wonderful resource that you can find on the California ReLeaf website. This is all about the benefits of trees. And as unique as all of your organizations are, the needs of your community are going to be equally unique. You might be needing to advocate for extreme heat. You might want to advocate for energy savings because you have a relationship with your utilities department. There are so many different benefits of trees that it's very easy for you to choose which one is most important to your community and find some co-benefits that they're going to experience after they have their priority chosen. So this is a really great way for you to look at what are the needs that you have. And I want you and your organization to come up with a sheet like this that show what they are. What are your needs? What's most important to your neighborhoods you're advocating for and this intention that you're holding on to? And what are those co-benefits? Then I want you to create a doc. A lot of you have. I've seen a lot of your documents and your fact sheets about your organization and what you're trying to accomplish. And I think it's useful when you're advocating to create one specifically for the benefits that you're trying to achieve for your communities. And once you have your documentation there and you have your fancy new graphic that shows your org and all the things you want to achieve, who are you going to advocate to, right? I think something that we forget in this, and when we look at things like training manuals that I'm basing this presentation off of, is that we've changed in a way where we have more collaborative governance structures, right? The first people that you need to be advocating to are your community and to in any house, your own board, your own staff, okay? That we're not starting out at the local level. We're starting off within us. We're making sure that amongst our own organization and our own board, we have the same goals we want to achieve. We have the same messaging that we're using, that we are agreeing upon the benefits we're trying to achieve for our communities and that they are specific, and that anyone within our organization or our board can answer a question if they're asked about our messaging. So starting with our communities, understanding what do they want, right? Do you have to advocate to your neighborhood to educate them about the importance of trees? Maybe you do. Maybe this is not a place where we start saying, I have this for you and I'm going to advocate to your local government for you to get it. We absolutely need to start with asking, is this something you want? What do you want? What are your needs? What are the co-benefits that we can solve with the issues that you have that are in relation to trees, right? So starting our advocacy with our communities and our literal neighborhoods that we're working with is how you're going to get through to the end and be most successful when you are achieving something that is truly desired and requested. So your local, your most, your base layer, which we might have called coalitions in the past, are really the people that you need to start advocating to start with. And that's your largest layer. It's your community. It's your chambers of commerce, right? We want them to understand why this investment in an urban forest is important and how it benefits their city, their county, their town. We want our youth voices to feel heard and to have a place where they can express what they're looking for in tree canopy, where they want some tree canopy, what kind of tree canopy do they want, right? We're advocating to them, educating them about the possibilities of tree canopy really enhancing their quality of life We want to make sure that your neighborhood associations and your homeowners associations understand the benefits of biodiversity. We want to make sure they understand through our advocacy with them that we don't want to plant a neighborhood that's all one species or two species off a list that a homeowners association might choose because it looks nice with the development. We want to make sure we've advocated with them enough that they completely understand what their options are, what the benefits are, and how they can achieve a really rich and diverse and biodiverse tree canopy. And once we have our community understanding what their needs are, and we've developed within our organization how we're going to achieve those, then we're going to start with our local government. And because we have our board of directors on board and all of these people in our community that we've advocated to, the introductions to our local government become much easier, right? Chances are very good that if you look in this community level on the left, that someone that you've advocated with in that list can introduce you to everyone on the right. Your mayor, your city council, your commissioners, your county supervisors, your parks department, the school board, right? If you have reached out to your youth voices, you should have already met a school board member. And if you haven't yet, let them introduce you. Because really, relationship building is the basis of all your advocacy. We're going to meet these people now, and we're going to enter a long-term relationship. We're going to know these people for a very long time. And as they turn over and term limits happen and elections happen, we're going to know their staff. We're going to know the offices. We're going to know the people in these departments. And we're going to understand that we have a long-term relationship. So this is a relationship you're making now, you're maintaining often, and you're not losing out on the ability to do it now because you're waiting until you have a need, right? We know what the needs are. We're making the relationship and we're getting it going. So today we're really going to talk about advocacy through state government. Once we have our local goals achieved, we also have simultaneous advocacy needs through our state government, right? Through our governor who signed all those bills over the weekend, through your state assembly members and senators. Department of Natural Resources is someone that California ReLeaf advocates to quite often. You know, our Air Resources Board, we're advocating and we're communicating with them so that they can understand the benefits that trees provide their agencies and their departments. You're going to have an opportunity this week to reach out to the Water Resources Board and to show your expertise and to weigh in on how should street trees be watered. With new proposed regulation, you have an opportunity to advocate by participating when there is a call for expertise. And right now we have one by the Water Resources Board. They want to know, urban forestry orgs, this is you, this is your moment. They want to know how can they proactively write regulation so that street trees are not harmed in the future. And as we've seen through this last legislative season, we can accidentally write ourselves into a bad place if we're not on top of it and advocating. So when you have an opportunity to participate, this is a really easy way for you to advocate. And of course, the federal government there would be the top. However, we are attending the World Urban Forestry Forum this month, next week. So maybe there is a higher level than our federal government for us to interact with. And I hope that all of you who are attending next week take that opportunity. So we know who we can advocate to. We have an intention of what we want to share. We know what our communities need. Now it's time to work on those relationships. And if you don't have these right now and you're trying to build these, I'm going to tell you how we do that. Okay. How do we make an in-person local government relationship? You get online. It doesn't sound like it makes sense. But the very first thing you're going to do to develop these relationships with your local government are to get online and to follow them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, sign up for their e-blasts, sign up for their newsletters, sign up for your city's newsletters. Make sure that every way that your local government is reaching out to communities, that you're on that list, you're receiving that communication, and that you're following them. Because once you are, you're going to hear their calls saying, hey, we're going to be at this event this weekend. Hey, we have this meeting coming up. And that's your opportunity to meet them in person. So the way that you're in the right spaces and you're in the right places that your local government are is by making sure you're online, you're following them, and you're inviting them to follow you too. right? Send out an email to your mayor. Hey, have you followed our website yet? Because I'm following yours now. This is a way that when you have your tree event and you are online and you're following their newsletters, you have a direct connection to advertise your event, to invite them to your event. You're going to understand when your local city council person is holding a community neighborhood resource fair. I saw a Meadowview Urban Tree Project here on this call, and I know that they have attended many neighborhood resource fairs and had a table and offered the resource of trees to the community, right? You are a feather in the cap of the resources that these local government agencies are trying to offer the community. Offering public health benefits and free trees and shade and whatever your benefit is a resource. So make sure that you are dialed in and you're in these places where the community is gathering, wherever your community gathers. Make sure that you are understanding where it is, when it is, that you're sharing out their events, that they see that you are supporting their events because you're actually advertising them as well. And ask them to advertise your events, right? These relationships, they're a two-way street. Okay, we are supporting one another. These are active relationships that we're building. We're asking them to share our information, and we are walking the walk by sharing out their information as well. And even a smaller level in your community governments there, your neighborhood association meetings. Are you attending them? Are you listening to them? Just because you don't live in that neighborhood doesn't mean you're not visiting where you're trying to plant trees and listening to their needs and understanding them and being a regular feature in their lives as a resource organization that you are. So we're going to start online, we're going to get all connected, and then we're going to meet in person, and we're going to start developing those local relationships. Then we're going to go a little farther. State government is a little more online these days. So we're starting in the same place. We're following on Instagram. We're following on X. We're following on LinkedIn. We're listening to their posts because once you can understand who you're following, and you're going to follow everyone in your region, bipartisan followship. I think I just coined a new term. You're going to follow everyone and understand what are their priorities. And as you start to do your research in the mornings and you are reading their posts and you're understanding what they're talking about, your co-benefits are going to naturally develop. When you can align your mission with what's important to them, because we know trees solve every issue, then we can really focus in on what they're going to be receptive to. So again, follow their social media accounts, share out your aligned messages. When you see them talking about the environment being important, you're going to share that message out on your social media. Make sure that you're participating in agency and board surveys and calls for input. And what that looks like is this. When you are following not just your politicians, but also the Water Resources Board, when you're following the Instagram or the LinkedIn of the California Natural Resources Agency, you're going to start to understand how much community engagement they're really asking for. Because quite often they're asking for your input. Quite often they'll have a 1 month open window when they say, hey, we're working on carbon inventories and we want to know what you think about it. Hey, here's a proposed regulation that's going to come out in the next year. What are your thoughts? These are excellent ways to advocate because you are the subject matter expert, right? So you're following your agencies online and you're very easily, with one click, you are sharing out to your network and your community the ability to advocate with an email, with an e-comment, with attending a listening session. And when you attend those, you introduce yourself, you're meeting other people who share the same interests that you share. And then you can advocate together and build those coalitions. So let's go back. Let's go back a little bit. Do you have your intention? Do you have your reason? Are you following along with who you might want to advocate to because you know what you want to achieve? Let's say, for example, you want to secure funding for a public investment, right? We'll go back and we'll check that box. I know what I want to advocate for here. Return to your intention. And then you return now that you have an understanding of who you want to advocate to and what their priorities are. You're going to choose your main benefit and you're going to create your co-benefits that are most desirable to the person you're advocating to, whether it's the homeowner association and they want to increase beauty in their neighborhood, whether it's a mayor who wants to increase tourism. All of the benefits that trees provide, you can create co-benefits to align your mission with the mission of the person that you're advocating to. It's kind of the glory of being in the urban forestry industry. So develop your main goals, design your co-benefits, and then you're going to get your one sheet together and you're going to finalize your graphics. Then it's time to take action. We have these relationships. We've been following on social media. We know the positions of the people we're speaking with, and we know their capabilities. When you are following all of those streams, you are getting information about grants that are coming out. You're getting information about funding coming down the pipeline. You're going to start to understand the mechanisms of policy providing what you're looking for because you're doing that research on a daily basis. And this is how you're going to have your first meeting. If you've decided it's time, you know who you want to talk to, you've got your fact sheet ready, you've got your organization on board with exactly what you're asking for, that intention has been honed and is specific, you're going to reach out and you're going to schedule a meeting with the person you're advocating with. Let's say, just as an example, that it's your city council person. This is what I would recommend. I would recommend first sending an email introduction with a request to meet. Now, quite often, when you look online for how do you email your city council person, your congressperson, your Senate member, whatever you're looking for, you're going to get routed through forms. You're going to get maybe a very basic info email. If you don't have a direct email from one of those people on your community list or an introduction, and you're just starting off in this way, go through that process, fill out that form. I do not recommend waiting for an answer. I recommend you fill out that form, and within about 10 minutes or so, you make a phone call and you call the office and you say, hello, I am constituent Victoria Vasquez and I've emailed you and I'm following up on that email. And if you've got someone on that line, they're going to say, oh, really? What? Where's your email? And it's fresh. It's at the top of the list. It's easy for them to see. And they're going to access your email and you're going to tell them, I would really like to schedule a meeting. And they'll say, oh, go to the form. You say, oh, yeah, I did. I filled out that form. Now, how can we find a time to meet together? And you might have to re-go through another form. They might give you another email address to write to request that meeting. But they've heard the name of your organization. They've connected it with the email online. And I want you not to be nervous to pick up the phone. I think we have lots of generations of organizations here, and some of us are a little nervous to make that phone call. We're very comfortable with email. But I'm telling you, please, if you want to make that connection and you want to speed up that process for them and for you, send an email and then instantly call them on the telephone. So once you have that meeting scheduled virtually, you're going to want to make sure you have that connection. Let them know that you understand what their priorities are. You can say, oh, remember when we were at that neighborhood resource fair? Oh, I saw you last week at that ribbon cutting. Oh, I heard you speak at the city council and I was really appreciative that you mentioned XYZ, right? Connect is your first goal. Make sure that they understand that you know who they are and that you're watching them, right? You're a voter. You're also a voter. They want to meet you. They want you to vote for them. They want to understand that you know what they're doing. Make it brief. When you're planning that first meeting, just expect 15 minutes. Don't expect anything more. You might get something more, but I want you to be prepared in that first 5 minutes to make sure you're sharing with them your fact sheet, your ask. And when you're sending that first email, one thing that I really love to attach is our annual report. California ReLeaf puts together a fantastic annual report. Make sure that that is full of photos when you do yours. If you didn't do a lot in the last year, that's okay. Attach last year's annual report, right? Give them something to look at. Make sure that your web address is in your email signature or that you literally point it out. Hello, my name is Victoria. I'm from California ReLeaf, and here is our website if you'd like to check it out. I've attached our annual report. I would really love to speak with you about this upcoming change to our parking shade ordinance. Can we please schedule a time to meet? Right? They can vet you instantly. You've given them everything they need to vet you to see what you're all about. So make sure that it's brief. You have what you need to show them. You're handing them a fact sheet. If you're in person, use plain language. We don't want to say things like, GGRF, right? VSOB. We want to say things like greenhouse gas emission reduction, right? We want to make sure it's plain language when we're speaking to them. We're planting those seeds. We've got our acorns, and then we're going to have our meeting. This might be what your meeting looks like, right? This is what it looks like. It's you in your best, in a quiet room with some good lighting, and you're looking at this team online. It might be the chief of staff of your city council member. It might be anyone in the city council member's office. It might be the city council member himself or herself that you're speaking with. This is what it's going to look like. So be prepared, okay? Make sure that you understand what funding streams or mechanisms they have available to help you so you can call it out by name. Hey there, I saw that you have a grant coming up for community enhancement, and I would like to plant trees in order to fulfill the deliverables of that grant. Making sure it's compelling. You are the subject matter expert. You know the community. Mention all of those people that you've advocated to in your community, because if you're speaking with city council or county supervisor, my guess is that they know the names of the presidents of the HOAs and the neighborhood associations and the PTA, right? They're with these people in meetings. They know each other. Drop those names, okay? Connect your needs with mutual goals. And we've said this all the way through. Bring those co-benefits to light. I'm so glad that you're working on air quality, because our desire to plant a thriving urban forest is going to provide that for you and for your constituents, right? You're there, you make your ask, you know what to ask for, and then you have more actions, right? You did it, you're done. No, you're not done yet. Our acorns have maybe grown up into this beautiful sapling tree, right? This takes time. These processes, they take time. This relationship is a two-way street, and it's a long-term relationship. You've gotten to know one another in person or on Zoom. One could argue it's the same thing. You're continuing to reach out. You're continuing to attend these meetings. You followed up that meeting with an immediate summary. Thank you so much for meeting with me today. I enjoyed speaking with you about this. Here is the data that I was talking about. When you mentioned crime, I mentioned there was some research that trees reduce crime. Here it is. Making sure that you follow back up, you continue that relationship, and that you are continuing to attend those neighborhood association meetings. You're moving on to Parks Commission meetings. You're at City Council. You're at those neighborhood resource fairs. And now when you see each other, you're like, hey, so-and-so by the first name, or hey, city council person, and they know you by your first name. You're developing this relationship. You know what each other looks like. They're pointing to you when someone asks them, how can they get a tree in their yard? You're becoming that resource by this relationship that you're continuing to design and to develop. Now, it's time at this point to maybe weigh in on some state policy. Right? Is there an assembly bill or a Senate bill at this point that is really caught your eye? Do you need to write a position letter? Do you need to take your organization's advocacy and kick it up a notch and say, we oppose this or we support this? Either way, the next step is to weigh in on state advocacy and to write a letter. Right? Now, I want you to remember when you're writing a position letter that you are the subject expert. It's your passion and your expertise and your vision that makes your perspective so valuable, okay? You are bringing to the conversation something that this person who's a decision maker might not see. And that's because they're seeing everything in the whole region that you're working on. If we're talking about state government, think about everything that the state government works on. If you're talking about your city, every single issue in your city is within the purview of that person you're speaking with. A neighborhood association has the whole neighborhood to work with. They're thinking about potholes, they're thinking about parks, they're thinking about unhoused issues, they're thinking about safety, they're thinking about all of the issues, not just your issue of urban forestry, not just your solution of urban forestry. So I want you to remember what they're seeing and what you're seeing. So if we look at this picture, which is right here in my hometown, and you're a politician, I want you to put in the chat right now what you think a politician would see, and just in a few words. And the politicians that I asked, when I asked them to look at this picture, I'll share with you what they saw. The words they saw were progress, investment, development, riverfront, and tourism. These are the words that came to mind when I saw this picture. Now, I have a feeling that all of us on this call maybe saw something different. Would anybody like to unmute yourself and share with me the words that you have when you see this picture? Be brave. We're all thinking it. Going once. Also, I can't see the chat. Megan or Alex, if anyone put in the chat what they see when they see this picture, will you share it with me?
Yeah, I will. Victoria, someone wrote commercial development equals more tax revenue, development, money. And I see a lot of trees, some sad trees. Someone just wrote that. Mistletoe, tree, bank protection. Those are some comments.
Did you see this? This is what I saw, right? I didn't see development. I didn't see progress. I saw mistletoe. I saw a declining canopy. I saw a missed opportunity for some natural tourism there because you're not investing in your trees. I couldn't imagine how many dollars it must take to bring in a crane that big and build that gorgeous, shiny, mirrored building and not put the basic maintenance into the beautiful trees along the riverfront. That is your perspective. You are a subject matter expert. And when you write that letter and you take your position on an assembly bill, a Senate bill, a local policy, this is what you need to express with your words. This is what I see. I see that base layer of your public health needing investment so it can catch up to the people who are going to be commuting into that shiny building every day and clean the air for them and give them a shady place to go at lunch. And you want to make sure that what you see, they see, because they're not seeing it. That's why your voice and your perspective is so vital and important. Okay, we're going to participate again. So if you're ready, and let's talk about how we now in this virtual world submit these letters that we're writing. Megan is going to put up an online poll for us here. And we're going to ask you, have you registered on the California State Legislative portal? You can say yes, you can say no, or you can say, what the heck are you talking about, Victoria? What is this portal? Wonderful, thank you. Okay. It looks like the winner here is unsure. If you still have your poll up, we're at about 64% participation, and we have unsure as the winner, no as a close second, and we have 0 people on this call who have registered for the legislative portal. And that's okay. You know why? Because I'm going to show you how to do it. All right, are you ready? Let me tell you what this is. When we want to write our position letters, in the past, we would write a letter and we would send it in the mail to our decision maker. We would make a phone call and we would state our position. We would rally our coalition. We'd write a letter all together. We'd all write our names on it of our organizations and we would send it in the mail. You can still do that. However, the preferred method by the state legislature is to come in through this position letter portal. And when you do that, when you are making your position letter understood in the way that they want to hear it, then your organization is being cited in the committee reports and you have an official standing of your position, whether your position is in favor of, opposed to, in favor if amended. It doesn't matter what your position is if they're not receiving it in the way that they want to receive it. And this is very easy to do. I promise. I did it myself in 5 minutes and you can do it too. This is what it looks like. Okay, when you get to the website and you see it, you're going to be registering in one of two ways. One as of yourself, if you want to be a constituent who wants to weigh in on issues, or two, as an organization. Okay, if you have a lobbyist, they can sign up as a lobbyist for your organization. And if you don't, that's okay. You can sign up to the position letter portal. It's only for receiving feedback and position letters. It's not for anything else. It's very easy to do, and it's going to ask you for this very basic information. As an organization with a tax ID, you are pre-built into this system. You do not have to register your organization. You put in your name and that you say you are a representative with an organization. So when you type in your org, it's going to populate a long list. So have patience. It takes just a minute to populate that list, and you choose your organization out of the list. They already have you as a nonprofit registered in the state of California, and they're just waiting for you to weigh in this way. So you're going to register yourself or register your organization. You're going to talk amongst your organization who you've all advocated to, and you understand you're all on the same page. You're going to understand who within your org is going to be submitting your position letters. You still write them in the same old way using Word or Google Docs or however your organization is writing them, putting them on your letterhead. You can sign them, you can digitally sign them. You're going to be submitting your letter as an attachment. So that fantastic letter that you wrote with your enhanced view of a politician's city by exposing that urban forestry layer is ready to go. That's when you come into the portal and you submit it. You can attach it to a particular bill. You can attach it to an appropriation committee. Wherever that bill is in the process, it's going to ask you what's the number of the bill, and then it's going to give you an opportunity to attach your letter. And as a network member, as I mentioned in the beginning with that great picture of the state capitol and all the rose garden, you are a network member. We offer you advocacy. We're offering you assistance in this way. We're already advocating for you and your desires when it comes to these bills. And if one comes across your purview and you say, oh, you know what, I want to ask California ReLeaf if they know about this. I want to ask California ReLeaf, what is their position on this? I want to ask California ReLeaf, what do other people think about this bill? You have a few ways to engage the network on your own through the listserv. You can use our social media channels to express your opinion or to ask others their opinion. And you can reach out to us and we can help you go through that process to get onto the portal. We can sign on to letters together. We had an instance this year through this legislative season when we understood there's a 100 organization limit to how many orgs you can tag into the same letter. So no longer do you can put all of your orgs that are together in a coalition on your letter with their names and addresses, but you also can select another person, another organization when you're submitting that letter. So you can submit that letter in 5 organizations' names on the same submission, and then you are cited in those committee reports. So remember, you are a network. You are not advocating alone. Once you have your objectives and your reasons, you know the level you want to engage, you have the relationships built, and you want to get in and submit a letter on the portal, you can follow the directions here in this Learn at Lunch. You can reach out to us and ask, and everything that you had done in the past by sending it in the mail, you don't have to do anymore. You can just do it from your desk without the cost of a stamp. Now, the golden shovel moment is pretty close, right? We all know what a golden shovel is. It's when we hand a golden shovel to someone who was part of the decision-making process when we dig that first hole. When we have gotten through the process, we've advocated, we have our funding, we have our trees, we have our community, and we're digging that hole and we're taking that picture. And the reason we're taking that picture is so we can share with everyone what we've done, show everyone what they can do, and maintain that relationship. And I'm going to give you this example of all of these little screenshots from the past few days and some advocacy that California ReLeaf has participated in and achieved over this past season. So the top left here is an Instagram photo. You might recognize me, second to right there by Jan. This is with California Foundation of Nonprofits. This was an advanced payment bill called Assembly Bill 590, and it passed. And these are all the different steps along the way where we were able to garner support from other advocates, where we were able to tag in. So first we see the picture here that Hart put on Instagram announcing his bill. Then we see the advocacy alert put out on our social media by Megan. We were actually able to give you a direct link for you to send your comments to a senator and assembly member about how you felt about it. And then I picked this up and shared it on my own personal LinkedIn so that other people I knew and other nonprofits could weigh in and share it as well. From there, some of our other advocates like United Way put together more graphics, and we shared this messaging all through the process to where we are in that morning when we're reaching out, we're checking our social media, we're understanding what other people are advocating for, we're understanding what their priorities are, and then we made it, right? And then we're seeing people announce it. Here's the Tri-Valley Nonprofit Alliance announcing the breaking news that it passed, and the California Strategic Growth Council, who advocated with us, announcing the same thing, that the bill had been signed. And California nonprofits, this is their golden shovel moment. We did it. Now you can be approved for 25% upfront funding with your state contracts. And of course, here Assemblymember Greg Hart announcing that it's been signed. This is across X, which is the new name for Twitter, if you're wondering, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. These are all the ways that we are practicing online virtual advocacy. And as we are sharing out the message from Assemblymember Greg Hart, and he's seeing that we liked his message, that we shared his message, the next time we invite him to come to our tree planting and we hand him that golden shovel, he knows who we are, right? He knows we're proud of him. He knows that he can lean on us for urban forestry expertise and for nonprofit expertise, and we know that we can lean on him as an ally, right? These golden shovels, when you have your events, they go to your community member, your youth voice, your HOA president, right? All of the people who are part of your advocacy team, your mayor, your representative from your utilities department, anyone who helped you get there, they get the golden shovel. And I think going forward, something we should work on is a golden wheelbarrow for mulch, right? Why don't we make it really exciting and special to maintain trees too? I think that's a good next step. So now I want to hear from all of you. I want to know, can you please share your successes that you've had in advocating to local municipalities? And or what tools would help you to be successful in advocating with your state officials?